this movie is just like the perfect movie to watch around the New Year and New Year's Eve, because it's just all celebration and fun for like at least a full half hour of this movie. I mean, sure, yeah, there's depressing moments, and yeah, there's the dark concept that you're never actually going to attain what you want to with your life and your dreams. But there's a lot of cool dancing. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today our movie in the middle is Babylon. Babylon is the newest Hollywood-centered epic by Damien Chazelle about the transition from silent films to talkies when sound was introduced. It stars Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Diego Calva, Tobey Maguire, Gene Smart, and Leslie the tow truck guy from Drake and Josh. So as you guys know, I am doing a couple catch-ups during January from last year's movies, the end of last year particularly, that I did not get to see yet or did not get to review. And being the second most anticipated movie I had of last year, of course, I had to do a real review for Babylon. I've already given my thoughts on Whiplash, and I will, of course, be giving my thoughts on La La Land at some point. That will be coming, don't you worry. But when I heard that there was a movie coming out by Damien Chazelle about Hollywood, starring Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and Tobey Maguire, well, you can imagine my excitement on that one. So my biggest high after seeing this movie, and I mean literally biggest high, is the first 30 minutes. Like the first half of this movie, but specifically the first 30 minutes. My God, this is exactly what I wanted out of this movie. Of course, it is 3 hours long, and this is just the first 30 minutes. But man, the energy that this first half hour brings was insane. If you love any sort of movies about partying or the 20s, and partying, so like Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby, this is such an exciting opening because it is just like the biggest, raunchiest Hollywood party you could ever find. And yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that I could have done without, but the stuff that is there is this scene where Margot Robbie does a dance, and I swear to God, I still haven't even seen this, but I bet it rivals the Wednesday dance. I know, I feel like that's controversial to say, but no, I think it's going to rival the Wednesday dance because, man, it is just freaking awesome. So aside from the first 30 minutes, the rest of it as well, I mean, obviously just the directing by Damien Chazelle. He is one of the best directors that we have in our recent years of filmmaking. I mean, he is incredible. It's one of those things that whatever he does, it is astronomically hard, but he makes it look easy because it's just so insanely well done and so fun. And honestly, some of the stuff in this movie is the funniest he's ever been. Editing-wise, directing-wise, just the quick nature of some of these scenes, particularly after the first 30 minutes and kind of still in the first half when they're doing mostly set things, and you know, some of these people being on a set and just how that is in the set life and how quick and chaotic it gets. That was some of the funniest stuff I have seen from him. But of course then on the drama and the emotional side as well, he does such a good job directing these actors because, I mean, it is this big epic. It is 3 hours long, and so it does feel kind of like one of those that's just, you just kind of keep going and going with these people's lives. And, you know, where he has like the big, fun, high energy moments, he also has like really emotional, sad, just heavy moments in this movie. Some of them were very obvious to some people before things happened. They were not obvious to me. It was sad. Really what he's good at is directing a spectacle that also has incredibly deep moments in it as well. I wouldn't say that this has some of the deepest moments or the most tense moments than maybe his other movies, but it still has some just insanely incredible sequences and things that I was like, wow, that was a lot. Some of it's a little too much. Also, I just want to say, get you someone who looks at you the same way that Damien Chazelle looks at the end of a horn. And on the flip side of that, the acting as well is just incredible. I mean, you have just an A-list set of actors, and they're basically playing like different roles in Hollywood, one of them being, you know, the one who starts out high and then gets booted out, the one who starts out as nothing and then quickly rises to the top, and then the one who just kind of like does this, you know, they kind of do it to themselves. They get there, but then they sort of blow it for themselves. And you got Brad Pitt, who plays that, you know, of course he's the famous actor in this one, and God, just look at him. Brad Pitt, man, he's just so fucking cool. You got Margot Robbie, who is the one who she just shoots right into stardom, and then she sort of gets screwed up because of just how chaotic and how Hollywood is. And she just does an amazing job, both with the high energy parts and also with the low points of her life in that movie. And then you have Diego Calva, who basically plays the unpaid intern. You're an intern. Unpaid. And I'll get to his character in a second, because I did have like one or two issues with how they portrayed his character, but I thought he did an amazing job as well with the acting, because he's pretty much that grounded element of this movie. He's that one that like we're sort of rooting for. He's the everyman who's just thrown into Hollywood. He wants to have these big dreams and he wants to get there. And then at some point, he has a little bit of a taste of it. But he's the one who we're with at the end. We can kind of see where this whole movie was going, like what the whole point of it was. I feel like I don't need to say this, but on the technical side, the cinematography is just freaking awesome. Just awesome. Quick cuts, quick pacing and motion, and obviously just the look of it, especially the first 30 minutes. It's just gold and streamers everywhere. I mean, the blocking, the location, everything, all the production design was just freaking awesome. But my favorite part of the technical side of this movie is far and away the score. I loved this score so much. I mean, there were so many, there's like 48 tracks on this album, but good Lord. Like, it is just so cool. It got that 20s feel, but it's so, I keep saying it, but high energy, and it gets you pumped up. And you know what? Screw it. Let's do a music in the middle. Okay, so there are like tons of scores to pick from, but the main one is the one from the trailer. It's called Voodoo Mama. Let's look at it. So right from the beginning, you can tell that this is going to be a very pump-up, inspiring theme that's just going to get you to want to party. Just that dun, 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 dun. And then you finally come in with this, the main rhythm, or one of the couple of main rhythms of the song. And, oh man, I don't know, I just can't really describe it. It just gets you wanting to dance and get low. All right, I'm white, I don't know how to dance. So, but you know what I mean. And then there's 2 times in the score that it does this thing. And the second time it's a little bit longer, but I don't know, it's just so cool. It's just, again, it just stops and starts and stops and starts, and it's just so much fun. And obviously you get the trumpet and the horn sounds because, once again, Damien Chazelle, horns. And so he kind of like goes with this for a little bit and does little variations and little things, kind of going down different side paths. And then finally it gets to this end where it slows down, but it still has that grand feeling. And, of course, there is a gigantic thing that happens during this part in the movie, which I will obviously not reveal. But aside from the fact that it feels slower and more grand, my brother described it as, it's like the music got drunk. And I think that is an absolutely perfect way to describe it, and very fitting for this movie. There are tons of others that I would love to talk about, like Call Me Manny, and Welcome, which is just another fun one. Just makes you feel like you're coming into almost like this cult sort of situation. There is one, you'll know what it is when you see it, that you might not want to play ever. But that is a very quick breakdown of Voodoo Mama. I highly suggest that you listen to all of it and to all of the scores, because, by God, Justin Hurwitz is a freaking genius. Now that I have absolutely fawned over this entire movie, let's get to the middles. So like I said, I do like the story, but it does kind of have that feeling of Hollywood epic where it just kind of keeps going, and I'll get to the pacing in a second, but it just keeps going in terms of the story and feels like it might get away from itself. It is not a slice of life necessarily, but like it follows all these people's lives throughout their whole life. And, so by the end, it does wrap up thematically, but it does feel like it loses itself here and there. But by the end, I do understand everything that it was trying to do. I just think that it could have been blended together a little bit better. But the story itself, I think, was pretty interesting. But the ending itself is my other middle because, man, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Like, there is something that happens that I didn't think it was possible to make more of a Hollywood love letter than some of the movies that we've gotten in the last couple of years. I think Damien Chazelle has just taken the cake on that one. He did the most that you could do to say, Hollywood, I love the crap out of you. Honestly, I'm just going to go and say this because they don't say it before the movie, and it kind of ticks me off a little bit. If you have a risk of seizures or epilepsy, that ending, I mean, obviously the whole movie, you're going to be like, this is a lot, but that ending particularly is not safe. So just know that going into it, because there's a lot of flashing and stuff like that. So like I said, I understand it. I kind of liked it, kind of didn't. I'm sort of 50-50 on the ending, but I can talk about that a little more if you guys want me to in some other spoiler thing, because it is a very intriguing, weird experiment. So my main low really is just the pacing. Like I said, the story itself I liked, but how it was broken down. You know how La La Land is like the first half is very fun and musical and happy and lighthearted, and the second half gets a little deeper, a little more emotional, a little slower, more realistic, honestly. It was like that in this movie to the extreme on both sides. The first half is like, oh my god, I can't take any more. My heart's pounding. This is insane. Then the second half is like, boom, sad. I get it for the story, but it really, like, I could watch the first half over and over again. It feels like I would put it on and then be okay stopping halfway through. And there is a very distinct hard line of where that middle is. That's my other low, is that it doesn't blend almost at all, particularly with Diego Calva's character Manny. You know, his whole thing is that he's starting lower and then trying to work his way up. And all we see for the first half of it is him kind of just being like the audience and just watching things 24/7. It's not like he's doing jack shit. Actually, he is doing jack's shit because the character's name is Jack. All of a sudden, he's like the top dog. And it's like, where did that come from? What? It was very jarring. But it is just very long, and it does feel towards the end like it sort of gets away from itself a little bit. Like, there was a whole thing that happens towards the end that I was like, this is going on for a long time. And it's aggressive. It makes the first 30 minutes look tame, which is weird. I will say, though, and this is a high I did forget, Tobey Maguire, he did not let me down. He was a choice for this role, but he was interesting. He's only in it for a little bit, so maybe that is actually a low. I wanted him in it more. I want Tobey Maguire in this movie more. But he was great for what he did in this movie. So Babylon is far and away Damien Chazelle's most explosive movie. It is like Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby met Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And, you know, he had full reign on this. And I think we're starting to see directors who have done one or two really incredible movies out of the gate, and we're like, where the hell did they come from? And then their third or fourth movie, they have, like, carte blanche. And it's like, it's a little too much. It's still good. And once again, like I said about Jordan Peele's Nope, it's like even his worst movie is still better than half of the stuff out there. And I really did like Babylon, but I can understand the 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a very split movie. Even the second half, I'm like, I like it. But it's just, I would rather way much watch the first half. I could watch the shit out of that first 30 minutes every day. Because really, it is just the pacing that makes this movie suffer. But other than that, the look, the directing, the score, the acting, everything was awesome. It is a very fun movie, but really, if you just watch the first half. I'm going to give Babylon a 3 out of 4. Well, guys, those are my thoughts on Babylon. Let me know what you thought, and let me know what you think of his other movies. Also, I haven't seen First Man, so that's one that I will also have to watch and then review, but La La Land will definitely be a thing that I talk about, because you can ask any of my friends. I talk about it way too often. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.